Have you ever noticed that like your favorite childhood foods when you become an adult just get so much more extravagant? Like grilled cheese, for instance. Okay, so it's what? Bread with butter and then cheese, more bread with butter on the other side. That's it. That's grilled cheese. There's nothing else to it. Now all of a sudden I'm 27, they're adding prosciutto and bacon and different types of cheese. There's Asiago on my grilled cheese now. What in the world is Asiago to a 5-year-old? But even then, it's almost Christmas time. I know a lot of people here in the States celebrate Christmas. The exact same thing happens with hot chocolate. Hot chocolate is just chocolate and milk. That's really all it is. And then now all of a sudden there's peppermint, there's sugar cookie flavoring, there's sprinkles, marshmallow. Like it gets so extreme. Like I feel like that exact same thing has kind of happened with all of our favorite baseball teams too, right? Like when we were kids, it seemed all so simple, and then now we're old and it's so complicated, and this team is that, and this team is that, and it's just all confusing.
Yeah, yeah, it just seems like, it's a entropy situation, right? Just more chaotic as time progresses, and, we just have too many options now, right?
Yeah, yeah, tell me about it.
Hello and welcome to Getaway Day. My name is Gautam. His name is Mason. Today is episode 132. Happy holidays from Getaway Day. We're going to be generous guys as we are and give out some gifts to Major League Baseball teams. Um, before we do that, we're going to do some This Week in Baseball. And Mason is going to give some thanks to our fans as we conclude a great year of Getaway Day, another great year, and we're looking forward to more in 2024.
Yeah. So, thank you for that, Gotham. Thank you to every single person that listens to us on a weekly basis, just occasionally, sporadically. I don't care. If you hear our voice and you don't despise it and take shots at me on Twitter, thank you very, very, very much. We have been doing this podcast now for 3 years, I think. It's about 3 full years here at the beginning of the next season. And this is already bigger than I think we ever thought it would be. Like just the podcast alone, like 82 people subscribe to it on YouTube, and a decent number of people actually watch there. Like 33 people follow us on Spotify. We get more listens on Apple Podcasts than we do Spotify, but we don't have analytics there. So like there's so many people that have at least just clicked that little button that help us see that what we do is actually reaching people and kind of making an impact on their lives. And that's awesome to me. Like we're 16 listens away on podcast platforms from 3,000 total listens since the beginning of Getaway Day. That's amazing.
Yeah,
And
that's a huge
so,
number.
yeah, so thank you to every single person who has ever listened to it, who has ever like subscribed to us on Twitch and help give us just a little bit of money to put back into the podcast to keep it improving. And I mean, it has improved significantly this year. We have some very professional looking socials posts that go live every week. Thank you to Allie there for helping us with that. Also, T-Rad has started earlier this year, along with that post, was helping us do just a couple little small things. And then here in the last couple weeks, he's been kind of helping just me edit every week, getting all of the thumbnails done, getting everything posted. And he has been a huge help to us this year. So thank you specifically to those two. And then I got one question for you before I go into the other half of this. Gautam, do you know what our biggest episode was this year?
I do not know.
So 250% of the typical listens to the Ryan Ludus interview.
cool. Yeah, that
So
was a good one.
it was really good, and I kind of think we should do more things like that. And we should reach out to Ryan. By the way, we haven't talked to him in a little bit. Um, but yeah, so thank you to everyone who's been listening, especially since that day, because that was kind of the day that I think kind of spurred the growth. Additionally, Getaway Day cards spun off this year. That is me just doing all of my baseball card nonsense, of which you could see some of my display here. I launched that in February. It's already up to about 50 subscribers. I've got like 25 followers on my Twitter account there that just started in September. We've pulled some monster cards, and people have been really, really supportive of that over on YouTube. So thank you very, very much. If you didn't already know, we actually have a subscriber goal on the YouTube channel that when we hit it, I'm actually giving away a hobby box of cards. So if you're interested in baseball cards, you haven't heard of Getaway Day cards or haven't gone over to see it, go check that out on YouTube. Because we are at 46 subs right now. When we reach 150, which seems like a lofty goal, but we can do it. When we hit 150, I'm giving away a hobby box. So make sure to go subscribe to that channel. Yeah, so thank you to everybody, to DZ for helping me on Getaway Day cards, T-Rad and Allie for helping on all the socials and the editing and all that good stuff, to all of our friends that have been on the pod, all the friends that just listen to the pod. Thank you very much.
All right, yeah, thanks for that, Mason. And I totally echo all those sentiments, and very much thank everyone for tuning in every week and listening to the podcast and supporting us in the ways that you do. So let's finish strong here in 2023 and do some baseball talk and go into the holidays feeling good.
All right, let's do
So
it.
we had some more signings and trades that happened in the past week. Jack Flaherty is going to the Tigers, 1 year, $14 million deal. I'm a big fan of this move for the Tigers because everyone knows that Jack Flaherty has the talent to be a really, really good pitcher. He goes to go pitch in like a really good ballpark for pitchers. Maybe can rebuild some of his value. We kind of forget Jack Flaherty's been around for like a while, but he's only 28. He's not like an old dude,
I
so
mean,
he can bounce back and become like a pitcher who's getting a multi-year deal a year from now.
yeah, like he's not a guy that was service time manipulated, if you will. That just wasn't really a thing for starting pitchers at the time. So he's been around for 6 seasons, and he's had pretty close to Cy Young level seasons, and then he's had some duds. The dude is really good. The thing that confuses me about this is all the people that think that he's overpaid. They
I mean,
realize,
there's
well,
really no thing
but
as a
but
bad 1 year deal, right?
but imagine this were a 4-year, 14 mil AAV contract. Just imagine for just a second.
Yeah.
Is that overpaying for the Jack
Well,
Flaherty that I would say
I mean,
no, because like look at some of these
yeah,
other deals that have been signed this year. Like that's well below market value, I think, for a guy of his talent. Like Lance Lynn got a 2-year, $26 million contract. That's 13 mil AAV. Kyle Gibson got 2-year, 20.
They both got 1 year deals, but
They have options.
I mean, it's kind. Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was. But yeah, but it's like
it's like Seth Lugo almost. We got 15 million a year for 3 years. So would you pay Seth Lugo or would you pay Jack Flaherty like the same 3 year deal? The reason he only got a 1 year deal is because this last season was by far the worst year of his career.
yeah,
And
and
obviously,
he's going out on a prove it deal with a team who really needs starting pitching because other than Tarek Skubal, they got nothing. So
I kind of like what they're doing with their pitching. They signed Kenta Maeda as well, so they're getting some guys that actually have some upside this year. They're not necessarily like going to be long term options or anything, but they are kind of. I think they're doing the right thing in the way that they're building their rotation for this year.
yeah, that's fair. And I guess I was kind of talking compared to last year's rotation because I kind of forgot about the Maeda signing, but last year outside of Erod and Tarek Skubal, they didn't have anything. So,
Right.
like, this is a big deal for that club, especially that club with young guys like Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter, Spencer Torkelson, all starting to take some steps forward. Like, you're starting to try and build a core, and so you want to be able to put together some complementary pieces that allow that core to flourish. Even if it's not time and this isn't the roster that's going to get you to the World Series, you got to start somewhere. 1 year, 14 mil Jack Flaherty, great start, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't see any downside with it. I don't understand people that do.
Yeah, I don't either. So,
So another one, Andrew McCutcheon is going back to the Pirates. He is still recovering from his Achilles injury that he sustained last year. Um, I don't know, like makes sense if he wants to continue playing. He likes Pittsburgh. He went back there this past year. Um, I mean, hopefully he can recover and we can see at least a little bit more Kutch before he retires.
yeah, and that's what this is, in my opinion, is this is kind of the Adam Wainwright, just sign 1 year deals with the team until you're done, and you're done with that team. There's no going to another club. Like, this was the most obvious free agent signing of the offseason, in my opinion. Like, you
Basically, yeah.
knew it was going to happen. You just didn't know what the number was going to be and didn't know if he was going to continue playing because of the injury. So, which it sounds like he wants to. And when he's healthy, he's still a really solid player.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Like I'm just looking at his numbers here. He had like a 106 OPS plus in the games that he played, 473 plate appearances. Like that's really good for a 37-year-old player. Like he's still like a
37-year-old
contributor.
outfielder that still plays in the outfield.
Yeah, he didn't play that much outfield, but
Oh,
um,
fair enough. But
he
when you have Jack Zawinski, do you really need him in the outfield?
no,
Yeah.
yeah, like he's like that true veteran presence. He helps a team in other ways than
He's the
just
Joey
being on the
Votto
field.
of the Pirates. Granted, now Joey
Yeah,
Votto's not with the Reds, so it kind of makes that point
yeah,
moot. But, he's what Joey Votto has been with the Reds, but for the Pirates.
yep. Okay, so after the big one, the big move that happened this week was the Dodgers continuing to add to their team. They were able to trade for Tyler Glass. Now there was uh, that deal was contingent on him signing an extension with the club, which he did do. Um, Basically added 4 years onto this 2024 season. I think it's $110 million in new money, so it seems like it's very reasonable amount of money for
Yeah,
a
and
guy that literally could be like top pitcher in the league.
there's a couple different option levels as well. I think there's like a player option that's like $21 million. And then if he turns it down, then the team has a $30 million club option they could pick up.
It's the other way around. So basically,
Is
the
it?
club has the option for 30 million for that last year or like the additional year on the contract after the 5 years, and then if he turns that down, the player Glass now has the $21 million player option
Okay,
that he can
gotcha.
pick up.
Yeah. So uh, it just gives me whole pre-French Revolution vibes. The rich are getting
What?
richer. They're like
Yeah,
Marie Antoinette just eating her cake all the time. Um,
yeah.
no, the Dodgers have figured out how to have their cake and eat it too, and I really want to talk to Andrew Friedman and figure out how to do this in my life, because if I
Yeah,
can figure
who's
out
ever heard of
if I can figure out how to do all this on a personal level, I'm going to be doing just fine.
yeah, like, who's ever heard of, like, any trade that's contingent on the player signing an extension? Like, that's not how baseball trades work normally. The Dodgers are just rewriting the rules, I feel like, of player signings with Shohei, and they just kind of, like, run the league,
Does
honestly, at
this
this
have
point.
magic written all over it?
Maybe.
Magic's just like, hey, just do the basketball way.
Yeah, signing trades and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, like and apparently Shohei was part of the pitch. He really wanted to play with Glass now, and Glass said, yeah, that was like his recruitment was part of the reason. So
I mean,
um,
that would be part of my reason too.
I know, yeah, who doesn't
If
want
the
to play with the
greatest
Dodgers
player
and the
of all
Shohei?
time, and I'm sticking with that phrasing from now on. Like I don't think it's one of the best. I think he is the best of all time, and I think there is so many reasons that point to that being true. Um, if the greatest baseball player of all time says, "Hey, I want to play with you," I won't be able to share the rotation with you this year, which is really unfortunate because I'm hurt. But I want to at least hit some home runs for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're gonna go. Like
yeah,
that's like Tom Brady when he was recruiting players to the Bucks. Like when he says, "Hey, let's go get a ring here in this city," they're just like, "Okay." When the greatest player of all time,
right. Where do I sign?
yeah,
You
it's
know,
show me the contract. What's the money? I mean, I care, but I don't really care that much.
yeah.
So
So one more thing on Glass then we can talk about that specific trade that happened. But Glass big thing is his health. We know that he's going to probably pitch great when he actually pitches, but the biggest thing for him is like putting up a full season. Do you think Tyler Glasnow can exceed his career high in innings pitched, which was set in 2023? It was 120 innings. Did they get more than 120 innings in 24 with Glasnow?
in 2024,
Yes. And we're not talking
yes,
about a young guy. Like he's 30 years old. He's been around in the league for a while. The
I'm
guy
gonna
just
go.
cannot stay healthy.
I'm gonna go. Yes, I'm gonna say that it's not gonna be by much. In that the average is probably not going to be 120 innings per year over the course of the contract.
I think that's a pretty reasonable take on it. And I don't think the Dodgers care, right? They just
No,
want the top tier performance. They want him to be healthy, hopefully in October for
yeah.
them to pitch in the playoffs. And uh, but it does kind of bring up the idea that the Dodgers actually have more to do here. Like they're not done yet because part of the trade was moving Ryan Pepio, who probably would have been in the rotation for the Dodgers this year. They have plenty of innings that they need to cover. Like this is not an amazing rotation right now. Like they've got Walker Bueller coming back. They've got um, Glass now, but
Dustin May's down again, right?
Dustin May still recovering.
Because
Uh,
his was the botched Tommy John, right?
yeah, they had to redo his Tommy John,
Yeah.
and then
So
Clayton Kershaw's got a shoulder injury. He's not even signed at this point. So
yeah. So really,
there are more moves to be made
who
right
does
now.
roster resource currently have in their rotation? I'm just curious.
Uh yeah, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, and I can think of like oh yeah, Bobby Miller. So Bobby Miller's a big name there.
Whip check
And then they have Ryan
is,
Ryan Yarbrough.
is Whip check going to be in there?
I do not think that he's going to be penciled into that rotation to start the year. He's probably
Really
more of a depth starter. We're talking about
interesting.
Gavin Stone, in case you didn't pick up on that.
Whip check 3 million. That was just a miserable game to watch. I felt so bad
What a
for him.
game!
The Rays Dodgers game that we watched at your
Oh
parents'
yeah, no,
house.
no, I remember. I said what a game,
Oh,
not
what a
not
game! I
what
thought you
played.
said what
Yeah,
game. It's like how
I
do you
very
not remember
well
this?
remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Glasnow, Bueller, Bobby Miller, Ryan Yarbrough, and Emmett Sheehan.
yeah,
Honestly, when you look at those names and the talent with those names, you think they're going to be just fine. When you look at the length that they stay on the field each year, you get really concerned. Is kind of my take on that.
yeah. So I wouldn't be shocked to see the Dodgers go out. Obviously, they're still in on Yamamoto, but maybe they go out and get like Dylan Cease, for example. I would not be shocked.
What do you think about because kind of what they've been doing the last couple years is they've just been bringing in like seemingly past their prime or just like seem to have lost their way starters and basically helping them rejuvenate their career. What about Lucas Giolito?
Yeah, he's the perfect guy. Like, because I guess people like to connect him there because he's from the area and everything. And yeah, he's a guy that's been super talented. It's just been a couple of years now, and the Dodgers are the team that unlocks those guys usually. The only guy that it didn't work with was Noah Syndergaard last year.
I really thought you were going to say Lance Lynn.
Yeah, that one was a little different, but
Yeah.
they kind of helped him, I guess.
True, he was better at the end of the year than the beginning, but
Yeah.
not by much. Oh,
So this trade though, the Rays get Johnny DeLuca, who um he's kind of an older prospect, not really like a big name prospect, but he did debut with the Dodgers this year and looks like a solid player. Like this is exactly a Rays type of player who is kind of unheralded, but has good skills, and he's probably going to end up being like at least a platoon player, if not like a full time player. Like I think Johnny DeLuca's a pretty good player. And then they also got um, Ryan Pepio, who was awesome down the stretch last year. He basically like stopped walking guys and was just kind of striking guys out all the time at the end of the year. He had had a lot of trouble with command and control in the first half of the season, first stint in the majors, and then he kind of figured it out. And I expect him to continue doing good things with the Rays. So they basically took like the guys on expiring deals or near the end of their contracts in Glass now and Manuel Margot, who also went to the Dodgers, and they replaced them with the younger versions of those guys.
yeah. And Manny Margot is actually probably not a bad pickup for the Dodgers either,
Yeah,
right?
he's
Because
perfect. He's exactly like a short side platoon. He can play with Jason Hayward basically in
and
right field.
he's got the speed to cover more ground now than Hayward does. Like Hayward's still a great defender, don't get me wrong, but like you wouldn't mind throwing him out there in defense over Jason Hayward if you needed to, or if you just need more defense in general for part of the game. Like maybe Chris Taylor comes out, you throw in Manny Margot in left field with Jason Hayward and James Outman, and you have a really pretty stout outfield defense right there.
Basically, yeah. Yep. So I don't know this deal like it makes a lot of sense from both sides. I think it's a good deal for both sides, and that's pretty consistent with the Rays and the Dodgers making good trades most of the time.
I
Anything
didn't
else on this deal?
I didn't realize how old the Dodgers roster was now.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's
Good
absolutely a huge
lord.
thing. That's why I think they're pushing all their chips in because this is kind of like do or die time for this team because their their best three players you could say are Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman. Those guys are all 29 and up. All the supporting pieces behind them, not even like the superstar players, they're all like 30-year-old guys and above. I mean, who's young on this team really? You got Gavin Lux basically. You can't even say
They have
Will
four
Smith is
guys that are
that
younger
young.
than they have four guys that are younger than 29. They have James Outman, Miguel Vargas, uh, Bobby
Will
Miller,
Smith.
and Emmett Sheehan.
Okay. Yeah.
Will Smith he's close enough to 29. I'm just calling him 29.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like they're they're gonna. I don't know. Things could get kind of bad for the Dodgers here in a few years if some players like eventually will start hitting their declines. Like we thought Freddie Freeman would start declining. He's just been continuing to get better, but at some point he's not going to be this version of Freddie Freeman.
Now, I mean, I guess the flip side of it though, like Jason Hayward is on a 1 year deal, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Chris Taylor's not really signed all that much longer. Max Muncy
No,
just signed
you're right about that too.
Max Muncy just signed an extension, but it was what, only a couple years?
It's like a year. So basically after 2025, they've got their superstars locked up, but then the rest of the roster is like a blank slate. They can start fresh.
Yeah, Miggy Rojas will be gone, so that bench spot will open up. Austin Barnes will probably retire not too terribly long. I don't feel like he's going anywhere but LA. So as soon as they're done with him, I think he retires. And then their rotation's actually not really all that old. So
It's not really a problem. Like we're talking about the Dodgers here, so
Yeah, unlimited money, doing basketball things in a baseball sport.
yeah. Okay. Let's hit on these last signings. We have too many gifts to give out, so
Oh,
we
that's a
can
good
go
point.
fast here.
I forgot we were doing Secret Santa today.
So Lourdes Gurriel is signing back with the Diamondbacks for a 3-year deal for 42 million. This one, I'm not surprised this happened because he was sort of fan favorite in his first year with the Diamondbacks with his purple hair and part of the World Series run. Like Diamondbacks fans love this guy, and he became an awesome left fielder. Um, I think there might be some untapped potential there in the bat. Like very good player, and
I
good
mean,
that they
he's been
signed
a
him.
fan favorite in both of his home cities. Like in Toronto, he was a fan favorite. Just the dude's so fun. He
Yeah.
doesn't take himself too seriously, and I think that makes him likable. And yeah, he's got the skills to back it up and be on a major league club making a fairly good amount of money. So that's what, 14 mil a year AAV, 3 year 42. Like
Yeah.
really solid left fielder. And like his defense in left field isn't
It got
astounding
way
by any
better this
means.
year. It got good.
I mean, he's gotten a heck of a lot better, but I mean, the point is, doesn't matter if he's good at it anyway, because everyone else they have in their outfield is so freaking fast. They cover all the ground that he can't. So it makes it that much better of a signing because you don't need the best defensive left fielder of all time. You just need a guy who everyone likes. He hits well in that lineup. He keeps the clubhouse light. And that team did really well last year. And he was a part of it. So I see no reason to change that. It made perfect sense to bring him back.
You've got Yuki Matsui here, who has not officially signed his deal, but supposedly going to be going to the Padres. Um, Makes sense. He's their probably going to be their closer. He was a kind of a lockdown closer in Japan, and he would replace Josh Hader, who's a free agent. You got anything else on Yuki Matsui?
I'm just holding out hope that he changes his mind and signs with St. Louis since it's not official yet. He
Okay.
he was there last week in Busch touring and meeting, and so I would love to have Yuki Matsui there and the birds on the bat. So if the Padres get him, congratulations. He's a good pitcher, so I think they'll like him.
And then Royals. We talked Royals last week. We talked about Seth Lugo signing as well as relievers Will Smith and Chris Stratton. They went on to do some more moves. So the Royals are getting a lot of praise for going out and spending money as a small market team. They signed Michael Waka to a 2-year deal. They signed Hunter Renfro to a 2-year deal. Um, does any of this matter? Like, is this are you praising the Royals for going out and spending 105 million in guaranteed money this offseason?
I'm praising the Royals for trying
Okay,
because there's other teams in a similar boat that are not.
that's fair.
And that's something that I think we've always been able to praise the Royals for. Even when they're terrible, they at least kind of try. It doesn't work out most of the time. Like last year,
It never worked out.
they went out last year and made some moves. They were terrible moves, and we said it at the time, but they were doing something. They were trying to put a product on the field that they could be proud of. I think this year, even with the fact that, like, what was the Renfro deal?
It was 2 years, 13 million.
Okay, so 6.5 mil for 2 years. 100 Renfro. Michael Waka was 345.
That was Seth Lugo's deal. Michael Waka's was 2 years, 32 million.
232. Okay, like it. They're not signing the biggest guys.
Yeah, they're
They're
bargain bin shopping basically.
yeah, but to a point, like Michael Waka is helping fill a hole that has been blatantly obvious since the failed 5 first-round picks in the 2018 draft or whatever, where Brady Singer is the only one who's actually still in the rotation. and right now he's slotted as like their number 4. So I like the Waka signing. I don't think 16 mil a year for 2 years is really all that bad. Like it's a lot of money for that club. Um, is it going to preclude them from doing some other stuff that maybe would have been better? Maybe, but they're trying. And I think that's the part that we should applaud, because like these aren't just complete waste of money signings. Like these are valuable players. It's just,
Yeah,
does that particular move make the most sense for this particular team? Maybe not, but they're
yeah,
trying.
I'm generally like I'm okay with the Waka one. I'm okay with the Lugo one. The relievers are, I mean,
They're 1 year reliever deals. It's
they're 1 year reliever deals, but also those are like they're like aging relievers that you should be able to promote from within and create relievers that are at least that good, basically for no money.
yeah.
And the Royals can't really do that. Like they don't have that type of development skill. At least they haven't really shown it. The Hunter Renfro one is the worst move of all of them, because I mean I love Hunter Renfro, but he's not the same guy that he's been. Like he's coming off a season where he was worth .6 WAR. He got DFA'd by the Reds after he got traded there midseason, and he's basically got very little defensive value. Um, he's a 300 OBP hitter for his career. They had a guy in Edward Olivares who they just traded to the Pirates, who had a better 2023 season than Hunter Renfro. He was already on the roster, and they decided to trade him to free up a spot for Hunter Renfro. Like, how does that make any sense?
I guess honestly, I don't think that their scouting department is really all that great. Um, that's probably the main problem with that organization, is their scouting and development. So
Yeah,
I
so we
guess
can laud them for trying, but they're not spending their money wisely at all. Like that, it only counts for so much if you go out and you spend like it's something like 55 million or something guaranteed to players in 24. Like they could have gone out and got a real like impact player out of that money and been
I,
better off
I
for it.
think the other part of it is, we could say they could go get an impact player out of that money, but who actually wants to go play in Kansas City right now that is a true impact player? Like that's the other part that we have to remember, is like this is a team that is not close to contending.
Yeah.
Anyone who is worth that money, let's say they went out and got Bellinger to be a cornerstone player with Bobby Witt, that's still not going to put them in contention for the division. Like Bobby Witt was a 30-30 guy last year, wasn't he?
He was
Or
30.
20
Yeah, he
30
was. He
29
was.
or something.
No, he was. He was
Okay.
30-49. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. So he was a 30-30 guy. He is a superstar
Yeah.
on a team that's going nowhere. Like, why would another borderline superstar want to come play there if there's no plan to be competitive in the future? Like, I'm sure they have hopes to be competitive. I don't know that they have a plan to be competitive. And I think that's the
Yeah.
difference. Like that's kind of how their off seasons are every year. It's like, we want to compete this year. We want to beat, or we don't want to be the bottom of the division. So they go out and spend money, but they don't have like a true 3-4 year plan. They just kind of wing it year to year, kind of like I do with my fantasy football team. So, and sometimes it works out for me. I'm playing in the third place game this year, but
Yeah.
other
It's
times
amazing that the Royals actually won the World Series. Like that 1 to 2 year span like doesn't fit in with a long history of being very, very, very bad.
basically all the way back to the 80s.
I mean, I wish a team like the Royals would. The only way that you can land a superstar is by overpaying for one, right?
Yeah.
If you offer Cody Bellinger like a $200 million contract, like Scott Boras wants him to have, then then maybe you can get in on that kind of action. So
Yeah.
I understand it's very tough. So now I think it's time for some gifting. It is the season of giving, and we want to give give some sense to some of these teams in some cases, but we want to give them some objects for the future, for their upcoming season, whatever it may be. We picked out some teams that we want to talk about specifically, and what do you say we start with the Angels? Because the Angels lost Shohei, so it's like a new era of Angels baseball, but it's just like it's a mess. Um, we didn't really talk about this last week after Shohei had signed, but this franchise just feels like it's in shambles right now. They're almost like a laughing stock of Major League Baseball now. Um,
And
some
this
of
is
that's
and
due to
this
their
is a league that has Oakland.
right, yeah. Oakland's less of a laughing stock than the Angels today somehow. Don't ask me exactly how that works, but it all starts from their ownership. It all starts from terrible like scouting and development that they've had for decades probably now, and it's just kind of snowballing, and things are not seeming to be getting better. What do we give the Angels to get their act together?
Bleach, a vacuum cleaner, maybe some fresh paint. Uh I don't know. This is a dilapidated house. This house needs a complete and utter makeover, but before you can start the makeover, you have to just clean it. Like declutter the place, clean it up, and then let's start to fix it up.
Yeah. So we talked about like Ron Washington bringing in his whole new staff. Maybe that's a good first step because he potentially could be really helpful for some of their younger players. He's done amazing work with other younger players. But I want to talk about Mike Trout. I think Mike Trout needs to get traded, even though Perry Manassian has said he's not getting traded this season. No chance of that happening. They need to strongly consider it because that, in my opinion, is the only way they can really revamp the organization with the way it stands today.
Yeah. This is an organization that, as much as we can hope that Ron Washington is going to make a positive impact, Ron Washington's really only going to make a positive impact on players on the 26-man roster or on the 40-man that come to spring training. Like, he's not going to get to spend every day with all the minor leaguers and help them develop into better prospects than they are. So this is a team that is so screwed. I can't even think of like a better way to say it. They're so screwed through and through. Like, they have some solid pieces on their major league roster. I can't deny that. Logan O'Hoppe, really good young player. You've got Mickey Moniak started playing really well last year. Surprisingly, he was a number 1 overall pick a couple years ago, hadn't really done much, and he started to break out last year. You have Zach Neto, you have Nolan Shanwell. But after those guys, and those guys are their primaries at those positions, after those guys, there's nobody in the organization that of veterans or prospects that can
Yeah,
really
it's a
come
big one.
in.
The prospects, right? Like
Yeah,
this is a bottom tier um, farm system. Like there's no one coming to
yeah.
save the franchise.
There's no depth behind these 4 young players. Like, if these guys get hurt, there's not veterans to take their spots. There's not
Yeah,
prospects to come up and take their spots. This is an organization that is basically banking on all 9 position players, DH included, all 9 position players being healthy 162 games. That is not likely to happen.
especially
Give
with this franchise that they're always hurt. They're always dealing with injuries. That's been something that's killed them, even when they've actually had better teams. Like the injuries keep piling up. I don't know if that's like a organizational issue in itself. That's like something else too.
Yeah. So, like, the only way to really bring this club back to a path to relevancy, not to relevancy, to a path to relevancy, is to rebuild the farm system. And the only way that they can really do that without just like, you get what, 7 draft picks a year, 5 draft picks, 10 maybe, I can't remember, but you don't
Now,
get
yeah.
that many. You're not going to hit on all of them. So unless you're going out and signing every international free agent ever, international amateur free agent ever during the signing period, you have to trade for prospects. And the only guy that they have right now that can get them a haul, and it's not the same haul that it could have got when he was playing 150 games a year, but that's Mike Trout. He's still one of the best players in the game, even though he's not on the field 30% of the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
As sad as it is to say, it does feel like he needs to leave if that organization is ever going to do anything.
Yeah. It's really too bad. But that's what the Angels are getting. They're getting their Swiffer to clean house, and it's probably not happening, but we can dream, I guess.
Yeah. I,
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and give out my first gift here. I'm actually going to give the Texas Rangers some Pedialyte because, oh my goodness, are they going to be hungover? Coming off their first World Series win ever.
Yeah.
This organization is, they're over the moon right now. And I think next year might be a little bit of a comeback to earth moment, because it's so incredibly hard to go to the World Series back-to-back years. They would know. They're the last ones that did it. But like, they haven't really made too many moves yet this offseason. They did sign Tyler Mahle, but that's really about it. So they're starting pitching right now with as many injuries as they had last year. Like, DeGrom's still going to be out for part of this year. Scherzer's going to be hurt to begin this year. Like, they're still relying on a bunch of older guys that are hurt right now. I don't really like the whole older guys argument, but the fact that they're actively hurt is the part that makes me say, oh, okay, maybe we need to figure this out. But you've got Dane Dunning and Cody Bradford right now slotted in at their 4 and 5 starter. Like, it feels like they need to go back and bring back a Jordan Montgomery or one of these guys that was able to help stabilize them, get them bulk innings, pitch at a really high level if they want to have a shot at repeating. And right now it seems like they're kind of still celebrating and not really doing a whole lot of the off-season shopping. So Pedialyte might help get their brain back into focus.
Yeah. So right now you're thinking they're dealing with the World Series hangover, and
I think so.
They're gonna just kind of ride that into the beginning of the season. And honestly, like with the Mahle signing, I was just thinking about what could be mid-season 2024. They could be getting back Jacob DeGrom, probably the best like pitcher in the world.
Mm.
Max Scherzer, who's amazing when he's healthy and when he's pitching like he can, and then Tyler Mahle, who's a really good pitcher in himself. Get those 3 guys back in their rotation. They're looking amazing. So they just kind of have to like float. They need to just stay above water and kind of sleepwalk their way, hang over their way through the first half of the season, and then really kick it into gear in the second half. I think that's like a decent plan.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a decent plan, but like, things always go to the wayside. So you gotta have somewhat of a backup. You can't just say, and we'll mail it in the first half of the season, and then we'll hit it the second half, squeak into the playoffs, and then we'll just win it like the Golden State Warriors do all the time.
That would be really funny if in their meeting room they were like, "Yeah, we don't care.
We're gonna Golden State this crap. It's gonna be great."
Yeah. Let's take a look at an NL team here and talk about the the Braves. What gift do you want to give the Braves? Because they have all the players you could ask for. They're all locked up through 2065. Um, they are trading left and right in the offseason just because Alex Anthopoulos is kind of bored, it seems.
So
They need.
this is going to need a little bit of explanation real quick. So I don't know how many of you guys remember, and it's going to be all of you, and you're going to hate me for reminding you of this. How many of you guys remember the stock market and housing market crash of 2008? Yeah. So there was a movie in 2014 released called The Big Short. A great film, star-studded cast. Did a really good job of explaining kind of what that was all about, what caused it, and explaining the economics like and financials behind it. I kind of feel like we need to give Atlanta a Blu-ray copy of that movie because essentially the whole premise was that all of these banks were buying repackaged subprime loans, which Margot Robbie in the bathtub told us that subprime equals shit. Direct quote from the movie. It was great. But yeah, so Atlanta keeps buying up all these big albatross contracts from different teams, getting a prospect along with them, and then trading off the contracts again. And so far, it seems to be working. But I really caution him to not do that all the time because he just got stuck with the Matt Carpenter contract. They DFA'd him. They're going to pay that one out because they couldn't move him to another team. After enough of those, you have the entire market collapse and it doesn't go well for the entire nation. So we should maybe stop with the buying all the bad contracts.
Yeah, I mean, the Carpenter one's kind of funny because he must have initially thought like, "Oh yeah, I'll be able to flip him like I flipped all those other guys." And then I guess he just must have called all 28 other teams and been like, "You want Matt Carpenter for $5 million or whatever?" And every team was like, "Nah, we're good." And then he was like, "All right, I'll just release him, I guess."
Yeah. But no,
Okay.
that organization's probably going to be just fine. But it does seem a little weird that he's buying up all the bad contracts and then trying to flip them.
Yeah. All right, I want to give the Cubs some gifts because they need like an alarm clock at this point. Like they realize free agency period is going on right now and they have lots of money to spend and they've been rumored to be in on just about every free agent it feels like. Yet they have not spent a single dollar on their major league roster. So I want to give them some power hitters. I want to give them Reese Hoskins and Matt Chapman for their corner infield. And I mean, Cubs had like a pretty solid season this past year. Offense took a pretty good step forward. Maybe they don't get Cody Bellinger back, but they need power to take that next step to be a really top tier offense and even to like be as good as they were this past year. They need reinforcements and they need to make some moves because they there's not a whole lot out there and it's time to like kick it into gear and uh I want the Cubs to go spend some money and make some big moves here.
Well, if you're giving the Cubs a gift, I guess I should give St. Louis a gift too, right?
Yeah, I mean they've had a couple gifts already.
Wool socks. Cardinals are getting
Wool
wool
socks.
socks. So the nobody wants socks for Christmas. That's false. I actually specifically ask for wool socks for Christmas every year. I love them. They're my boot socks. So I put holes in my boot socks every year because I wear my boots so often. But yeah, but most people don't like getting socks for Christmas. They're just kind of a filler. Like they're not fancy. They're not special. It's a necessity. And St. Louis went out and got Sonny Gray, a big signing for them and something that they drastically needed to do. They've gone out, got another couple starting pitchers that they hope are going to fill up some of the bulk innings. They're hoping that some of the prospects that, like the recent prospects, I guess not really prospects anymore, and Liberatore and Zach Thompson can take the next step. So what the Cardinals are doing now, and what they should be doing now, is they're going out and getting Wool Sox. They're getting the guys that they need to bolster this rotation, or this roster, um, relief pitchers that can actually pitch and have upside there. So, and we'll see what they do with the rest of the offseason. But I think a lot of Cardinals fans still have this small little hope in the back of their mind that we're getting Yoshinobu Yamamoto because of all of the Instagram posts that he has with Lars Nootbaar. People are allowed to just be friends. That's true. So
I don't even know if they've had a meeting with him, right?
no, they haven't.
Yeah.
Like, people are allowed to just be friends. We're getting Wool Sox for Christmas. Don't think that we're getting a Yoshinobu Yamamoto because we have a Yoshinobu Yamamoto at home and his name is Sonny Gray.
Yeah. No, that checks out with the behavior of the Cardinals. Like, I got to give the Cardinals credit for one thing. They always stick to what they know and they stick to their process. Even if their process is
Is
not the
kind of,
best, they're
yeah.
consistent.
It used to be good. It's a little bit outdated now.
Right, exactly. Another team that's in need of some help is the New York Yankees. And the New York Yankees, I want to give them a very specific gift of a bumper car, and that's because of their troubles on the base paths this past season. This team is full of like hulking, uh, you know, big slugger type players that do not really run the bases well. There's a stat on Baseball Savant called runner runs. The Yankees are the worst in the American League with -9 runner runs this past season. So they need to improve their decision making on the base paths. They need to like work on their fundamentals. They need some faster guys on this team so they can like not just give up outs on the base paths. Like Juan Soto, I don't know if he's really going to help that situation.
No.
They need some fresh blood with this Yankees roster, and
Didn't they just get Billy McKinney? Or was that last year?
I think that was last year.
Oh. Well, he is fast. Ish.
Yeah, ish.
Ish. It's faster than the other guys. No, that's not where I thought you were going with bumper cars. I'm not going to lie. I thought you were going to say all the conflicting statements between Hal and Cashman and Boone, and they need to get their story straight because right now they're hitting everything.
Yeah, Yankees need plenty of gifts, but I can just give them one today.
Fair enough. I'm going to go ahead and give my gift to Farhan Zaidi and the San Francisco Giants. And that gift is Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Ooh.
The Giants have been trying and trying and trying to lock down their superstar for years. They finally realized that not having a true superstar player has been a detriment to that team. And they've been trying to fix it for 2 or 3 years now, and it's just not been working. They've kept missing out. The Correa thing with the physical, the Aaron Judge deciding to stay in New York, like, they keep missing on all these big guys. They have, in my opinion, a really, really good pitch for Yamamoto. They're trying really, really hard for Yamamoto. They've said that they will give him basically the moon as far as a contract. They're fine with it. They just want to get it done. Farhan's basically said that. So at this point, it's up to him to pick. Like, they have to convince him that this is a team worth coming to. And they just got Jung-Hoo Lee, who's a really, really, really good center fielder out of the KBO, coming over, signed that 6-year deal that we talked about last week. Packaging Lee with Yamamoto and some of these other players that they have, some of these guys like what's his name? The catcher. Patrick Bailey. There we go. Patrick Bailey and a couple of these other young guys who are looking like they could be some pretty solid major leaguers will help bring youth and excitement to this club and start putting this club back on a path to being a free agent destination, being able to compete with the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks now in the NL West. I think that this is exactly what the Giants need to get back to consistent relevancy.
Yeah, no, I could not agree more. They need to get this big guy, and the more I've been reading about Yamamoto, the more he seems like he's just a can't miss type player that is actually special because of the age that he's hitting free agency. Like this does not happen very
Yeah.
often at all.
And
And
imagine putting him with Logan Webb in a rotation.
yeah, that's awesome. And like they have serious work to do on all aspects of the team right now, but you
Mm-hmm.
got to start somewhere, and the the surest money is on superstars. Like I strongly believe that, and I think that Giants finally realized that too. You were kind of hitting on that. They weren't really pursuing superstars at all until like the last couple of years, and I don't necessarily blame them for not landing like Aaron Judge. He wanted to be on the Yankees.
Yeah.
Correa, like maybe they dodged a bullet. The guy wasn't even that great this past year, and whatever, like health issues that he has. Shohei obviously wanted to like make his own decision, and he made the decision to play for the Dodgers, which is self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Like I don't blame them for missing on any of those guys, but still, they have to they have to seal the deal. And
Yeah, and I mean,
le-
in hindsight, it looks like not being in on Chris Bryant long term might have been the right decision, but at the
yeah,
time, it didn't feel like it. And so it's like they kept missing the boat, and then when they finally realized that they needed to catch a boat, the boat just wasn't there.
yeah,
And this is, I think, the time where they could do it. Like they Jung Hoo Lee, I think, is going to bring some excitement to that club. I think even though he's not Japanese like Yamamoto, I do think he could be a decent part of a pitch to Yamamoto. Like, hey, we're going out and trying. We're going to have all these fans from all over the world. We already do because we're the San Francisco Giants. But this is our time to start moving forward and be that 2010, 2012, 2014, even year dynasty again. So,
absolutely, yeah. Okay, we got any more that we want to get into? Oh, I want to give the Twins a new TV deal because I feel bad for their fans right now. They're one of many teams that are under this cloud of Diamond Sports Group and the uncertainty with various local TV broadcast deals that teams like the Rockies, for example, don't even have a broadcast home for their 2024 season because Warner Brothers completely got out of the streaming business or the broadcast business. And team like the Twins, they're just kind of like paralyzed in free agency. They can't go out and make big moves because they're not really sure about revenue streams, and the TV deal is like it's a major impact on the revenue that they actually pull in. So team like the Twins that has the opportunity to go be like the best team in their division, make the playoffs, and like they did this past season, like they're almost like taking a step back. They lost Sonny Gray, they lost Kenta Maeda. They're not backfilling those good players that they had on their 23 team, and it's tough because they should be a really competitive team.
yeah, and they're one of the clubs that has been rumored as to being dropped mid-season this year. Like all the clubs are being dropped at the end of this year, but there's some that are expected to be dropped mid-season, meaning they're only going to get paid partial amounts for this year, and they're one of those clubs that is in those rumors. So like they don't have the luxury of saying, okay, we have one more year, like the Cardinals do, like the Braves do. And those are clubs that really, like, the TV money is big, but for those two clubs, the TV money is not their only revenue stream either.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah,
kind of
less
most of
impactful.
it for
Yeah,
Minnesota.
yeah.
So it's a big deal. All right. I actually don't want to give a gift to this team. Can I take a team out and like show them the importance of sharing?
Okay, let's hear it.
The Los Angeles Dodgers. This is the person that has everything. They have all the money in the world to go out and buy everything that they could possibly need and or want, and they do. Sharing is caring. Um, you have three, no doubt, first ballot Hall of Famers in your lineup. In Otani, in Mookie Betts, in Freddie Freeman, and there's probably a couple other Hall of Famers in there in that roster that I just am glossing over right now. And kudos to them. They want to get this done. They want to lock down more World Series with this core. So they go out and get Shohei on a deal that allows them to keep spending money. At some point, it does just feel unfair. Like it's not. It's completely within in the realm of the rules and everything. And kudos to them for thinking of this. For Shohei proposing this, for Friedman going, oh, that's a great idea, because then we could do XYZ 1, 2, 3, and then he's doing it. Go out, trade for Glasnow, extend him. Possibly be in on Yoshinobu Yamamoto at almost $300 million contract. Like, let someone else have a turn, please, just because I want someone else to do something cool. And if you take them all, there's none for the rest of us.
Yeah.
You're already going to lose in the first round of the playoffs anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't think the Dodgers are going to really be taking heed to your advice, but we'll pass it along anyway.
Can they at least give a couple million to some charities across the states?
Hey, Shohei's giving 1% of his salary.
Yeah, but specifically to the Dodgers charity. I want the Dodgers to donate to charities in all the other cities that they're taking all these players from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Should we talk about Oakland and Colorado here to finish up?
Okay, let's talk about Oakland and Colorado and then just say like one happy thing after. So because this is a holiday episode.
Well, we need something good, but Oakland's getting coal because they're continuing their behavior of just being like way too cheap and not bolstering the big league club. It's really terrible, and they made like one or two major league moves at this point, just like mid-tier relievers or like bottom of roster guys, and it's not a lot. And can the A's be like, are they going to be worse than last year? Is it possible?
Yes. I think it's possible.
I was going to say no.
I think it's possible. And I think they're doing it basically. Like they're taking an already completely stripped roster and they have added 3 players. Today they added Trevor Gott. Well, I guess technically on the 15th they added Trevor Gott, but today it was, I think, finalized maybe. 1 year, $1.5 million to be in their bullpen. Then they also, back at the very beginning of the off season, shoot, where did it go? Who were the 2 guys? It was they got Abraham Toro in a trade with the Brewers. And then who was the other one? Hey, it was on here earlier. I can't find it now.
They picked up Miguel Andujar on waivers.
Yes, Miguel Andujar. He's the other one. And they agreed to 1-year deals with them, even though I believe they're still arbitration eligible. So that's what those deals are. But yeah, they're not trying. Really, they're staying with the exact status quo of last year. I think Trevor May was a better pitcher than Trevor Gott, so they're downgrading in the bullpen, in my opinion. Like, it feels like this team is going to be in the exact same spot yet again. even though they've already got approval to move to a new city. So you would think they would start to try and build to something that that other city would be proud of and spend money on, right?
You would like to see that, yes.
So I don't know. They get coal. Actually, I'm gonna make them buy coal for me so that they're out more money.
Well, good luck getting them to pay for that.
Fair enough.
And then the Rockies, who we are giving a microwave for National Microwave Oven Day, which falls in December. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes.
Yes. So we want to bring them into the 20th century because the Rockies are just always just miles behind the rest of the teams in terms of like the way they do things. Like they're very, they do things their own way, and their own way is just not
It's
the
very
way.
1860. They operate like they're out of 1860. We're not trying to bring them to modern day. I realize we're a quarter of the way into the 21st century. We just want to bring them into the 1900s right now. One step at a time. Let's, I don't know, get players based on scouting reports, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't help develop players. I don't know. It just seems like they just kind of get players and then say, "Here you go play.
Go play. Have fun."
Be back by dark."
Yeah, exactly.
it.
Be back home for dinner.
They just have a big bell outside that they ring. That's when everyone knows it's time to come home. So let's maybe bring them forward in time a little bit. Start acting like a major sports franchise in the year 2023, using some analytics to build a team that is competitive. I mean, the Denver Nuggets just won a championship here in the last, was it last year or the year before?
I think it was this year, right?
I think so. But my point is, major sports franchises in Denver, Colorado are capable of winning championships. We don't have to be content with being the cellar dwellers. It's okay. We can try a little harder. All right, what's a fun one? What do we got?
All right. Uh
Ooh, I got a fun one.
okay.
The Pittsburgh Pirates. I am giving the Pittsburgh Pirates a plaid button-up shirt and a set of screwdrivers. This is a club that it just, they feel like the old man of the league. They're not really, like, they have a lot of young players that are just kind of mid-level prospects and whatever, but bringing back Andrew McCutchen, the elder statesman of the NL Central now, I think that might be true, right? Is he the oldest guy in the Central?
Could be, yeah.
Probably some of the Cardinals pitchers, Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. But other than them,
I think
he might be the elder
Hutch
statesman.
might be even older. Yeah.
But it just feels like it feels like that point in life where it's like you don't really know what to get them. They're fine. You just get them a shirt and screwdrivers, and then you just kind of move on. Listen to their stories about the times of old back in 2012 when they were good, and move on with life. Do some puzzles. Kind of what our Christmases are, to be honest. And it's a great time. Like, if I were the Pirates, I'd be perfectly fine with that. So
Perfect. Yeah. So unfortunately, we didn't get to all 30 teams. They are going to have to get their gifts off air. Um, I guess. What else do you have to say before we wrap up here for 2023?
it's been a good 2023. 45 episodes of Getaway Day.
Yep.
That's
Not to mention
pretty
lots of
pretty close
playoff
to
live
reaching our
streams.
goal too. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
If you count all the playoff live streams and things, we definitely reached our goal of, I think it was 50 on the year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we must have made it.
Yeah. So
So yeah, thank you.
it's been a great year. just once again, thank you to everyone that I thanked up at the top, everybody who listens, everyone who's ever shared a link, everyone who's ever said, hey, I was listening to this podcast and they said this, and just furthering on some of our thoughts. I know we're dumb. We don't always know what we're talking about. We make some stuff up, especially me. He's smarter than me. He's the smart one, by the way. I'm just here because I'm cute. Please don't correct me in the comments.
We got to have balance, right?
I have a low self-esteem. Let's not correct me in the comments. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. It's been fun for year number 3.
Definitely. And yeah, as always, we had lots of stuff to talk about. It was a very interesting year in baseball, and we got some unusual happenings. We got a first time World Series champion, and it's been kind of interesting, unprecedented offseason with the Shohei uh, watch and signing and everything. And, um, we got more to come. Like it doesn't end. That's the best part. Get to do it again next year and next season, and can't
So
wait. Like I got the baseball itch again.
so I have one question for you. What do you think? And this is just kind of you predicting what's going to happen next year. What do you think the overarching storyline of the year is going to be baseball wise? Like the one that just kind of consistently throughout the year just keeps coming up, it keeps being talked about.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it's going to be a return to prominence of like blue blood teams. So it's going to be like the Cardinals and the Yankees making comebacks this season. Obviously, the Dodgers being like maybe like a dominant, historic, awesome team this year. Stuff like that. I
The
think it's going
Braves
to
trying to repeat doing exactly that. Like,
yeah. So it's going to be like basically like 23 was a year of these upstart teams like the Rangers, the Diamondbacks, and the Orioles. This year, this upcoming year is going to be like a year of the teams you expect to win to actually win.
it's fair. I actually, my overarching thing is actually not even on the field. I think now that we've got approval from the owners for the A's to move, I think even though there is so many ways that that could fall through, I think we're actually going to start hearing more and more about expansion of the league. I think that there's going to be clubs, and there have been some organizations that have been starting to ramp up their proposals and their public reach on hey, this is a good city for this sport, we deserve a club. I think that that's going to get a lot more publicity next year. I think you're going to start hearing a lot more from Nashville. I think you're going to start hearing a lot more from Portland. I think you're going to hear a lot more from Raleigh, North Carolina. I hope, because I just spent a month up in Montreal. I hope that we hear about a franchise that wants to start in Montreal. That city is so cool. It's so historic. It had a club for so long, and they loved their club. Their club didn't love them, and it kind of showed. And I hope that someone can bring baseball back north of the border, give Toronto an actual like another team. This is maybe a topic for another day because I'm starting to go on a rant. But give Canada more prominence in baseball, because being up there, I realized how big it is up there. Like one of the guys I work with is a coach. Shout out Craig, because he's listening. So, but like just talking to him, like baseball is big up there. Like it's not as big as it used to be. Obviously, it's never going to be hockey up there, but baseball's kind of shooting themselves in the foot by not giving Canada any love and attention in this sport. Like we play games in Mexico, we play games in London, we play games in Toronto because they have a team, but that's the only reason that they go up there. Like, why don't we ever go to Vancouver, go to like somewhere in Sask, like play a game, see if people like it, give them another club so that there's actually more reason to have all-star games and things up there. Like, I really hope that Montreal puts in a pretty good bid. So, but yeah,
Cool. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna wrap here. Next week we're gonna be off for the holidays. We'll be back in early January.
Potentially 2 weeks off. We'll let you know on the 3rd. So,
Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
And yeah, with that, thank you very much and have a great day.
If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcasting app or YouTube to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Getaway Day Pod. If you enjoy card collecting, check out our sister YouTube channel at Getaway Day Cards.